Alright, so this will be the last video before you take your test. There are more questions on the test, which, just like those of you who took the quiz will notice, that I didn't cover. But again, the whole point is not for you to learn everything. It's just to make sure you focus on the things that really are within your reach, and try to earn the points that you can. So when you see those questions on a test that you don't know, you could just leave them blank, but make sure you answer the ones that we actually practice together, like these. New information, again, just making sure we go through this to warm up with our distributive property. Remember, you do 3 times 4x, which is 12x. You do 3 times 7, which is 21. Remember on this that you do, it's just, again, it's just like doing 2 times 8 and 2 times -4. But again, 2 times 8, 16x. Copy this sign down because nothing really changes, and 2 times 4, which is 8. And that is that part. So again, you just need to make sure you're ready for both the plus and the minus. But notice, as long as that's just a regular number, you just bring the sign down. So 5 times 6x would be 30x, plus, because that's there, 5 times 2 being 10, and that's all. And then again, remember that your multiplication will be there. Everything except for 1s, 2s, and 5s. But again, that's where we are right now. So 3 times 6, again, you'd be able to check that list to see this, 18. Copy or minus 3 times 3 is 9. And that's the general idea. Again, these questions are actually on that test, so as long as you know those, you should be good. You'll have one with a plus and one with a minus, so just make sure you're ready for those. The other type that's on here just has a negative, but again, it's not really a tough question as long as you keep in mind what it's asking you to do. The negative sign means opposite of, so it means switch to the opposite of 4x, which makes -4x. It means switch to the opposite of +3, which makes -3. So all this negative is doing is saying switch the signs on the inside of the parentheses. So again, once you do this, you put your -8x, because that is a +8, and then that -7 turns into a +7. That's all it's asking you to do. All right. This here means switch it to a -5x. This here means switch it to a -6. And that's all it's asking. So like I said, in this distributive part, when there's a number, you're multiplying. But when there's a negative sign, it just means switch. So again, that means take that 10x, rewrite it as a -10x. It means take that -2 and rewrite it as a +2. So again, that is the general idea of those questions. And those 3 questions are on the test. So one of those is like this, and you might want to circle that for yourself. Actually, there's a review section in the back. You don't need to. But like I said, this one here with a minus, and then this one here with a negative on the outside. Those are 3 questions you're going to see. So as long as you've got that down, you should be okay. And then let's just review the stuff that we've kind of seen. Keep in mind that whenever you multiply by a fraction with a 1 on top, which I think there's one without a 1 on top, but again, if you see that, just ignore it. Make sure you get the ones that you know how to get right. But on these, and again, I'll do the first 2 and you should pause it for the third. But remember that the first thing you do is ask yourself, can I divide 7 by 4? And if not, you send 7 to the top, making it 7/4. Copy your sign. Can I divide 8 by 4? Yes, it's 2. So 2 and then x. And that's all it's asking you to do. Again, check to see. And if it doesn't divide, just send the number to the top. If it does divide, then you go ahead and put that there. This should be 12x over here, not 5x. Once again, can you divide 5 by 3? No, so you send the 5 to the top, making it 5/3. Copy the sign. Can you divide 12 by 3? Check your 3's. You'll note that 3 times 4 is 12, so there's your 4. Attach your x, and you're good to go. So again, pause the video for a second, try number 11, and see if you remember how to do that question, because again, this is your 4th type of question that you're going to see. Can you divide 11 by 5? No, so send it to the top. That should be 11/5. Copy your sign. Can you divide 15 by 5? Yes, so it'll be 3, and then attach your x to it. And that's all. The next one has a 1/2 or something like that. Again, it divides into both. So again, 1/2 into 10. I can do 10 divided by 2, which is 5. I can do 14 divided by 2, which is 7. And that's that. Again, I can do 8 divided by 2, which is 4. I can do 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And that would be my answer. So once again, pause the video and try number 14 real fast just to make sure you've got that concept. But that's all the fractions in multiplication are doing. I'm not going to go over addition, subtraction of fractions because At this point, if you didn't know how to do it, then there's no need in stressing you out about it. You'll have a calculator like that if you get out of here, and you get to do that. And if you don't, well, next year you'll probably get to your fraction part anyway. But like I said, just make sure you're making the most of the questions that you see. Again, 12 divided by 2 works, which is 6. 18 divided by 2 works, which is 9, and attach your x. Another type has the number in the back. Again, it's the same as if it was in the front, but it's in the back. And the second thing is, remember that this negative sign, just like it did in the other stuff, switches a sign. So this should make your answer negative. You can do 12 divided by 3, which is 4. This would also make this negative. And you can do 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So again, notice that the 1/3 thing still works, and then that negative sign also still changes both of those symbols, which is just like doing 2 things at once is all. Again, when you take this over here, it's going to be negative because it's going to switch the sign. 9 divided by 3 is 3. When you multiply this, that negative is going to switch the sign. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Bring down your x. That's all it's asking you to do. And I would say pause the video, but you got your review coming up anyway, so you don't need to. Once again, when you do this part, that 9 divided by 3 is 3, but that negative means that the sign switches. When you do this one, that sign switches. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and then bring your x down with it. And that's the key idea you're looking at. All right. So the best way you can prepare for this quiz, once again, it's up to you to kind of be responsible on this, but the best way for you to prepare is to actually pause the video and try it. There's 13 questions. I think there's 17 on the test, which means there's 4 you won't see. But just so you understand, 13 out of 17, even if you skip those 4, is still a 76%, which is actually about almost 20% above what your target number is. So if you get all these right, which is good, you'll be able to actually be in a pretty good spot. Just again, make sure you take it seriously enough to actually do it and to see what you know. And again, if you need to ask questions, ask your teacher the questions that you need to see what you need to fix. But just try it out. Pause the video, check those out, and then I'll go over those. Again, when I go over them, I'm going to go over them decently fast. But again, just make sure that you've got your work there so you can actually fix it and see what you did wrong. Go ahead and start now, please. So number 1, remember that addition subtraction on the same level. So you do your subtraction first, then you do your addition. I saw a lot of people figure that out, which is good. Don't forget division and multiplication on the same level, and then you do your multiplication, which is that. Number 20, my sheets aren't separated this time, so forgive me. I'm not as organized as I want it to be. Number 20, remember that these two are stronger than those two because addition and subtraction are at the bottom. So you do your division first, copy your 10, copy your minus, turn 8 divided by 4 into 2, and then copy the rest. Remember that you do your multiplication next. So 10 minus 2 times 2 is 4. And then 10 minus 4 turns into 6. And then 6 plus 3 turns into 9. So remember that this is worth 4 points. Show your work on that stuff so I can actually give you the points that you deserve. Or that's your teacher can actually give you the points that you deserve. Let's say, for example, that you did your first step and you accidentally did 10 minus 4 times 2 plus 3, which of course is not right. And then you did 10 minus 8 plus 3, which is right. And you did 2 plus 3, which is right. And then you got 5. You would actually end up missing this step, but you would get the next 3 points because everything else you did was right. So as long as you're showing your work, even if you make a multiplication mistake or a division mistake, or even an addition mistake, at least you get points for everything else if you just show your steps. Don't forget on this, parentheses goes first. So 8 minus 6 turns into 2. Also don't forget exponents go next. So you do that part next, which becomes 4. Then, because these two are on the same level, you do the multiplication first because it's in front. And then 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2r to the third when r is equal to 2. Again, 2. That 2 goes in here. Remember, this goes first. That 2 to the third also means 2 times 2 times 2, which means multiply this, and then multiply that, which means that this turns into 2 times 8. which is 16. Remember again that that exponent means multiply that number of times, multiply this number by itself that number of times. So if that was 2 to the 5th, it would have been 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2, which you would then again have to, I'm sorry, that's 4, have to work out that way. But that's what you would do. Again, that exponent just means multiply it that number of times by itself so you can actually figure out what the evaluation part is. Again, the good news when you get out of this class is that the teachers typically give you calculators, so you should know how to kind of type those in. Once again, your exponent or your parentheses goes first, so you copy the 1/2, that becomes 4. And there we go. 4 squared means 4 times 4. Again, you'd be able to check your multiplication sheet for that, which is 16. Remember once again that when you do 1/2 times 16, you're actually saying what's 16 divided by 2, which is 8. And then 8 divided by 2 is 4. Here, again, first thing you want to do is substitute. So 2 times 3 squared minus 4. Second thing you want to do is multiply this. So 3 squared means 3 times 3, which becomes 9. Then, because this is weaker, you do 2 times 9, which is 18 minus 4. And 18 minus 4 is 14. Once again on 25, substitute first. That h is just there, so it's fine to just write it. K needs a parentheses because it's attached to J. And J also needs a parentheses because it's attached to K. And again, just like with this one, you did the multiplication before subtraction because it's stronger. Same thing here. Subtraction's weak. Multiplication goes first, so 10 minus 8, and 10 minus 8 is 2. Just like I talked about earlier, your 1/3 means try to divide, which you can't. And then if you can't, you send that number up to the top. Try to divide, which you can. So go ahead and do that, and then attach that variable to it. And that's it. On this one, remember that the 1/2 is going to switch both of those signs. So the sign switches, and then you can do 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Again, the sign switches, and you can do 12 divided by 2, which is 6, and then attach your x. All right. 28, just basic distributive property. 3 times 2 is 6. Attach your x. 3 times 5 is 15. Copy the sign with it because, again, there's no negatives to throw anything off, and that's all you're going to end up doing. And then the last two, which again are just pretty much about the same level. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down your x. Copy your sign. 2 times 3 is 6, and that's it. And again, the only time that sign switches is whenever you have one of these, which means switch. So that should be a negative 5x and a positive 2. So the best thing you can do is go to MathXL. Make sure you practice as much as you can on those questions so that you can make sure you've got this stuff ready. And again, talk to your teacher today to let them know you're taking a quiz the next time you're in class. I don't know if it's on Wednesday, Thursday, because again, people are in different locations. They don't know either. But you need to talk to them to let them know, hey, you know, even on the way out the door, hey, I'm going to be taking that quiz tomorrow, so they'll be ready to have it for you when you walk in the door. Because again, every day that you waste is a day that you risk not getting past all this stuff. So you want to make sure the teacher knows what's going on. So again, all you have to do is just email them or tell them or whatever it is, but let them know that you're ready for whatever the chapter 1 test is, so you can take that and then move on to chapter 2, which in all honesty is way easier in chapter 1. But let's just go ahead and get this knocked out, and outside of that, talk to you later.